Hi, this is Jenny Bloom on how to make love in a selfie, and we have just gone live. Let me just check and see if everyone is on. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. This is good. This is good. I think there's a viewer. You're watching. That's all that matters. Hi, this is Jenny Bloom coming to you from Brooklyn, New York City. And this is our first How to Make Love in a Selfie class. This is the intro, part 1. So, I just want to tell you a little bit about me before we get started. I am a yoga teacher and a coach living in New York City, and I've worked with people all over the world, really just helping you clarify what it is that really needs to happen in your life in order to get to the next level of whatever you really want. A lot of the people I've worked with have looked for sorts of love that they weren't really receiving, and that has been really wonderfully nourishing, because some of the people I've worked with have very quickly manifested love in sort of magical ways, and that's actually one of my favorite things to work with. So that's why I've created this e-course called How to Make Love in a Selfie. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about it as we get into this webinar. And there's going to be a point where I'm going to actually lead you through an experiential. So where you're going to have an opportunity to do a little bit of the work that we're going to be doing in How to Make Love in a Selfie. So are there any questions? Does anyone have any questions? Okay, well then let's get started. So in my experience, love has had a lot of pain associated with it, and that has made me not really want to get into stuff that had a real potential to last. Like, I don't know if that's a pattern that you find yourself in, or that, perhaps you are in a relationship that isn't incredibly satisfying, where when you fell in love with this person or you first got together with this person, you felt like really, really excited about what could happen. But then, like, at some point later, it sort of all just started to fall apart, and you just couldn't kind of get your way back into that part of the relationship that felt really good, which was disheartening. And so, maybe you made a couple of attempts to try to like make it work, but it was not really something easy or possible. So if anyone just joined us, we're talking about How to Make Love in a Selfie, which is this e-course that is just being offered at thelovingschool.com, which is a school that was recently started, which is all about creating a platform for people to invite more love into our lives, more love for ourselves, more love for others, for each other, and also more love for like people on the planet. Because one of the things that really seems abundantly clear is that this planet has a lot of space, a lot of capacity for love. And if any of the conflicts that are going on demonstrate something to us, they demonstrate something to me about how we can really hold each other up in a way that we're not doing as a society. And that's really where my work is going. So that's why I'm sharing this with you. So back to this idea of like what happens in love and why we get lost, or where we get lost, and how we can get back from that sense of loss. So I think it's all actually really, really simple, but, or at least it starts in a really simple place. And that simple place is about you. It's not about your partner. It's not about everybody else. And it's not about your parents. It's not about society. It's not about like men or women. It's not about any of these like kind of like big ideas. It's actually about you. Like you are the place where your loving can start. And that's what I'm going to teach today. So actually, let's get started with a little meditation, even before we get into more of the details. Is that okay with you guys? Awesome. So find a comfortable seat, whether probably you're going to be sitting, but if you have an option to lie down, that might be nice as well. But for those who are sitting and watching the screen, let's start there. So find a comfortable seat, find your feet on the ground. If you're wearing shoes, I would recommend taking off those shoes and letting your bare feet rest on the earth. Okay. From this place, start to feel your butt in the seat, and if it feels comfortable for you, you can allow your eyes to gently close. And actually, let's all open our eyes for a second before we get there. We're going to do a practice. It's a pranayama practice, which is a yoga practice called Padadirsasana. The way that we do it is we take our hands and we put the hands across the chest under opposite armpit, letting the thumbs come up to the top. And then you relax your shoulders down. And so we're going to breathe regularly in this way. And then at a certain point, about 2 minutes in, I'm going to say you can switch the cross of your arms, and you're going to take the top hand and bring it below the other arm. Okay? So let's all start. The arms crossed. In a comfortable seat, you can allow the eyes to close. And just start to breathe into the body. Allow the breath to rise on the inhale and relax down on the exhale. This technique helps to balance right and left sides of the brain. And just let yourself notice the effects. Let your breathing be relaxed. And just drop into the breath. As you allow this breath, let your hands really feel what it feels like as the chest rises and falls. You might notice that one side of the chest is rising more than the other side. And if you notice that, you can switch the cross of the arms as we did before. And let the top arm come up and down and under. And then continue breathing. So the benefits of this pranayama technique are that you start to draw inwards slightly. Your attention starts to pool within. And you start to pull your senses in. This is one of the most important steps to coming into this place of real availability, where loving can start to unfold. Just let yourself Follow this breath for a couple more rounds. And now let the arms drop onto the knees, the tops of the thighs. And keeping your eyes closed, just let yourself feel your body in space. Feel your butt in the seat. Feel the sensation in your hands touching your pants or your legs or your skirt. And we're going to take some more deeper breaths, inviting the breath to come from the crown of the head to the base of the spine. So on the inhale, breathing through the nose, invite the breath crown to base. And on the exhale, let that vibrate through your system. Inhale, crown to base. And exhale, let that move through your system. The crown to base, inhale, you can add the mantra sa to. So you're inhaling and hearing silently the mantra sa as you feel the sensation from crown to base. And then on the exhale, you hear the sound silently in your head, hum, reverberating through your system. Inhale sa and exhale hum. Just let yourself hear these sounds. Notice them as if you're tuning in to something that's already there. Just let yourself pool your focus in this place. And then allow your chin to come slightly in towards your chest. And let your eyes blink open, softly taking in the room. And then let your eyes rise to the level of the screen. Welcome back. So, we just did a pranayama technique, which helped to draw the energy in and help you focus the energy that's mostly going out in the world into you and this subtle experience that you're having all the time. And then we used a Kriya technique. Kriya is a ancient way of moving energy in the body using visualization. The visualization and Kriya, which also means it's a subtle energy technique. It's a way of tuning into the subtle energy that's operating in your body at all times. Sa from the crown to the base and a hum distributing through your system comes from, well, what the mantra means. Sa means inspiration and hum means transformation. So it's a mantra and a way of understanding the breath from the inside out that has been used since ancient times to start to change your perception of reality. And okay, for some people that might sound really heady, but I'm going to bring it all together. It's going to make sense very soon. So what is possible when we start to get into the place where we can shift reality with sound and sensation and the breath is everything can change. Most of us, / all of us most of the time, I've never met anyone who this didn't apply to, most of us, and all of us most of the time, are being completely run by a frequency that we can't even hear. The vibrations that resonate through our bodies and that dictate and shape our experiences are mostly unconscious forces that have very little to do with what we really want. What this means is that if we're talking about love and manifesting love, it's very hard to manifest the type of love you think you want if you're not starting to work with these unconscious drives and these subtle energy fields. Because most of what we're manifesting from, most of what our reality is coming from, is old patterning that has very little to do with what our desire is or what our thought choices are. Most of how we manifest our reality is unconsciously. We find ourselves in these situations, in a relationship that's not working, or alone, not finding who we want to be with. We find ourselves in these places and we get kind of stuck in this experience, right? And when we're stuck in this experience, it's uncomfortable and it's confusing and it's a challenge, because how can you change your experience if you're in your experience? And then to make it even more, then the mind gets involved, and the mind is like, this is what happens when you are in this experience, and you start to tell yourself, this sucks, and then you start to be like, I suck, or like all of the bad stuff that you typically will say to yourself. It's like a validation for everything. Like everything is validated by this experience that you're having, and then it becomes this endless cycle of blame and belief, and it just snowballs. And as the snowball grows bigger and bigger, you become hopeless, because what else can you do but become hopeless if everything is so not what you want and you don't know how to have what you want? And no one can tell you how to have what you want, but somehow there are these other people on the other side who seem to have everything, and they're all getting married, or they're all having really sexy girlfriends, or they're having things in their life that you want. And honestly, this isn't just about relationships. Relationships is a big part of it, but we get into this understanding of ourselves in the world where we're the person who doesn't have and other people have, and then we can't really figure out how to balance it, right? And it's self-perpetuating state of most things. And there's some people who figured out ways to get out of it, right? And then they charge like really loads of money for you to go to their courses, because I know I've gone to these courses and they're life-changing, they're amazing. But not everyone has that money, right? Some people do, and some people don't, right? So that's one factor, right? Like sometimes you figure out, you're like, yeah, I really want to do this thing, but you feel limited even in that, right? So these are like objections that like we come up with of like why we can't have what we want, even when we find it, right? And then so there's that piece. And then there's the other piece, which is that like after you go to these like life-changing transformational workshops, right? Which like I have gone to, and I've had amazing experiences. I've been so lucky. I've gone all over the world to study with some of the most amazing teachers, the most transformative teachers, people who have like serious experience in helping reshape your reality and your sense of your identity, right? But what happens afterwards, right? You come back from this amazing experience, and you, for like a month or 2 months or 3 months, or even like maybe like if you're really lucky, like 4 or 5 months, a year, you spend a year just like, yes, you're like rocking out and everything is so good, right? And like everything feels so good and everything is what you want, right? But then what happens, right? You know what happens. Something comes into your life that you're unprepared for, and it pushes you over, and then you're on the floor, and suddenly all the stuff you did the year before or the month before or 4 months before is like, you're like, I need to do, I like, it's like you freak out, right? And then you think everything is terrible again, and then you start to get back into the snowball, right? Because like, how else can you, because this is what we do. It's not your fault. This is what people do. This is humans. This is what humans do. So this is why I made this course. It's called How to Make Love in a Selfie. And it's a funny title, but my intention is to give you really clear tools that will help you to have a different experience. And they're kind of like life hacks, you know? You know what a life hack is? I'm sure you know what a life hack is because you are watching this on the internet. So you're super smart, you're super connected, you read all of the right blogs, and you are very interested in figuring out the shortcut, which is why I like you and which is why I want to help you, and which is exactly why I want to give you these tools. These are literal tools, like the exercise that we did before, that will help to cue you into, it's like turning off the power button, right? Like you probably have an iPhone or a computer. I mean, you definitely have access to one or both of those things, or an Android phone, regardless. You have access to something, this tool, right? And with your computer or your phone, if you never shut your phone off, does your phone continue to work? No, it doesn't, right? And somebody made your phone, right? Like a person made your phone and they know, they have a map of it and they know how it works and all of this stuff, right? So like there's some logic in like knowing that you need to turn off your phone sometimes, right? Well, this thing, this human thing that you are, right, is like an iPhone. It's very similar to an iPhone. And unlike an iPhone, the off switch is not easy to find. You know, some of us think, oh, sleep is the off switch, but that's not really true, because when you're sleeping, you're dreaming, right? Or maybe you're not anything. And you wake up and you have your feelings, right? You feel like this or like that, and you're back in the mind, and the mind is running the show, and that's how we move in the world, right? So this is what I'm saying. You need a life hack. You need these tools. You need to learn how to turn off your mind. And it's, you don't, this is where I'm really, really grateful for my teacher, Alan Finger, who has taught me a lot of this material. Like Alan is like, unlike a lot of the teachers that are out there who can teach you how to turn off your mind. He doesn't think you need to go to India. He's the founder of Ishta Yoga, which is the school that I've trained in and that has offered me a lot of these tools that have helped me to move out of this mind cycle. So some people think they need to go to India and sit in a cave for 10 years or 5 years or 1 year, or like go on a huge silent retreat, or, you know, stop eating all animal products, or, you know, and I mean, that may be part of somebody's path and that's totally fine, but it's not what you need to do to actually start to turn off your mind and start to live in an authentically connected way. Like that's not, you can do it. If that calls you, you probably would really enjoy doing it. But really what you need to learn, or what you can learn, is these techniques that start to tune you into the intelligence of the universe. And as you tune into the intelligence of the universe, you have this option to see your experience in a different way. And when you start to see your experience in a different way, you don't need to do anything. The path is clear. The path is like, would you like a croissant? Yes, I would. Would you like some water? Yeah, I would like some water. And you drink it. You might even gargle it. And it's fine. And suddenly, all of these things that in the past might just not have been there, for who knows why. Maybe they were there all the time and you just didn't see them. Suddenly things start to change, right? So, okay, so if you're vibing with any of this, there is a link in the little description. It's a bit.ly link, and it's a link to enroll in this class called How to Make Love in a Selfie. I know you're probably saying like, Jenny, you haven't explained to me what this class is about. That's okay. I think I have actually explained to you what this class is about. And if actually you're watching this and you only have like maybe like a 10% understanding of what I'm talking about, but in this whole experience, you have felt something a little bit move, right? Like you don't even know exactly what it is. You can't even put your finger on it, but you're just like, there was something that was like feeling very, and now it's feeling kind of, then I would encourage you to register for this class. I'm going to do something very special with this class. I'm going to do a 30-day money back guarantee. So once this class starts, if you are enrolled for 30 days and after that 30 days you feel like you really haven't gotten anything out of it, you don't even have to be like anything. You can just like send me an email. My email is jennybloom@gmail.com. After registering for this class, after the class starts, 30 days later, if you feel that it hasn't improved the quality of your life or any of your experiences at all, or if you just, if you really feel like it's not done you right, I will refund your money 100%, guarantee, no questions asked. And why? Like, that's crazy, right? That's like pretty crazy. But the reason I want to do this is that I want you to have this experience. Like, I have no question that you having this experience is going to be something that adds richness and value to your life. And I think you deserve that. You deserve that, because the more people who have richness and value in our lives, we become like, you become like me. Like, not like you necessarily are on a Google Hangout talking to like a lot of people about like life, but you suddenly become turned on in a way, right? Like, you suddenly become in the zone. And being in the zone is like, it's like other level shit, right? Like, it's like suddenly really like cool things happen, and I want you to have that. Like, I don't have any brothers and sisters, so that's part of why I'm like this. Like, I feel like everybody is my brother and sister. Like, even totally random people on the subway. Like, I just feel like we're all in this together, right? Like, we're all trying to make sense of this like weird, kooky, cosmic, crazy thing called life, where sometimes it's awesome and sometimes it's like awful, and then like it goes back to awesome, and like it doesn't even make any sense. Like, I feel like if you have resources, like, share them, right? Like, if I have 2 sandwiches and you have no sandwiches and you're hungry, I'm gonna give you a sandwich, because I really only need 1 sandwich, and the fact that I have 2 sandwiches and you need 1 is actually a perfect match, right? So, okay, the link is at the bottom. I definitely want you to like click it, and have this experience. And okay, fine. If you don't want to do that, I just want you to have the experience of having talked to me today, and watch this, because you definitely deserve it. And I definitely want you to have all of the love in the entire world, because it's yours to have. Okay, so this is the end of our webinar. Thank you for playing, and we'll see you soon.